Hey, this afternoon, I want to spend some time with you just sharing with you about some ways to talk with your kids and help them process through some of the things that they are hearing right now. All over the news, on the radio, social media, everything right now is very much focused about the coronavirus, and rightfully so. It is something that is affecting people across the world. But when you are a kid and you can't understand numbers or how close things are in distance, you process that differently than you do as an adult. As an adult, we understand Italy is all the way on the other side of the world. But as a kid, do you really understand that? And so I want to give you some suggestions and some helpful tips for some ways that you can use this time as an incredible teaching opportunity for you and your family. Over and over and over in Scripture, we are told, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Fear not. Do not be afraid. Take courage. Be strong and courageous over and over and over. Because we see things from a different perspective. We as Christians see things through the eternal lens of time. We see things through the fact that we worship a God who's in control and things are in his control. And that gives us a sense of courage that someone who is not a believer does not have. So this season that we're in provides us with some incredible opportunities to share with those around us the reason we can have that hope, the reason that we can have a confidence in such a wild time. So I want to share a couple of scriptures with you. And one of my favorites for these times is from Psalms 46, verse 1 and 2. It says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. So I want to talk to you for just a second about what that means as a believer. So the first part of the verse, in verse 1, says that God is our refuge and strength. God is the source of our strength. God provides our protection. And because of this, we do not fear. Because of this, we move ourselves from a place of fear to a place of faith. So as you're talking with your kids, give them a chance to express those fears. Give them a chance to talk to you about what they're worried about. And as they share, help move them from a place of fear into a place of faith. I'm worried that I'm going to touch something and then I'm going to touch my face. Okay, that is a valid fear right now. That's a valid concern. What can we do to move ourselves from a place of fear to a place of faith? I can wash my hands. I can, take care not to worry. I can use a tissue. I can keep one in my pocket. And I can pray. And I can pray that God will protect my body. And I can trust that he knows every part of my body. Scripture tells us that he even counts the numbers of hairs on our head. If he can count the number of hairs on our body and on our head, he knows how to protect us from viruses. So continually remind your kids of those things. And let them see you practice moving yourself from a place of fear to a place of faith. Let them see you living out your fear and praying over those things, praying for people that you know are sick. Another one, it says Isaiah 41:13. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. So in those moments of fear, we're not alone. God is right there. What a beautiful picture of God being right next to us, holding our hand and helping us have the strength and the courage to go through these times. And then finally, Hebrews 13, verse 6. So we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. And so maybe you take a dry erase marker and you write those scriptures on your mirrors. Maybe you write them on a piece of paper and tape them to your front door. Or maybe you tape it to the corner of your TV. So as you're watching the news, it's a reminder that you are moving from carrying in the information, but not seeing it through a lens of fear, but seeing it through a point of faith of that God is in control and God's going to protect us and God's going to walk alongside whatever happens in this time. And then take every precaution you can to use self-discipline to be in control. Use self-discipline to wash your hands. Use self-discipline to use a Kleenex. Use self-discipline to drink water, take vitamins, all those things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. So in these steps, sometimes it may be beneficial as you're remembering these words to put them in a place where you can see them, but also to maybe sing it or chant it or come up with motions to help each other in those times. So I hope that those have given you just a couple of ideas of some ways to engage your kids as a family, to really actively pray for those around us and actively pray for God's protection on our city and your home and your family and our church, so that you have and are stepping into that authority that we have to boldly come before the throne of God with confidence that He hears us. So I hope that those things are just some practical tools that you can put into practice in your family. If you have some suggestions of some things that you do in your family, if you have a story of how God's working in your family in this time, drop it in the comments below. I wouldn't be surprised if your kids would ask you several questions about maybe even sickness, maybe even death and dying, and what happens. And I pray that you would have confidence to answer them, that when we trust in Jesus, we know that no matter what, we win, no matter what. And that God is a God who can be trusted, and heaven is a wonderful place. And we can do everything we can to live in peace and steadfastness and joy right here on earth in the midst of chaos. So I'll be praying for you and your family. If you have questions, feel free to shoot me a text, comment below, or shoot me an email at heather@tvbc.net.